joy in serving Jesus. 533, you know what to do. Let's stand and sing, please, as we do. 533, there is joy, sweet joy.
With us this evening. We trust that the Lord will use the service in your heart to draw you to himself. Let's pray to that end that the Lord would just use this service. Father, we come and we are thankful to be here. We are thankful for the privilege of gathering as your children. Lord, we do not want to waste time. We want to have your Spirit work in our hearts. We want you to teach us truth and draw us to yourself. We want to learn to love what you love. We want to be conformed to the image of Jesus Christ. And we ask these things in his precious holy name. Amen. You may be seated.
530, please. Just a couple pages back. 530. Work for the night is coming. Work through the morning hours. 530. Sarah Shadrick, a missionary on deputation with us tonight, and most of you know that. One of the things we like to do is give missionaries a chance to put forward all the different ways that they're going to minister, the ways to be involved with the ministry there. And obviously music is a big part of her ministry opportunities. And so I asked her if she'd be willing to sing or play tonight and just bless our hearts. And so she's going to do so. And this is one of the things she'll be doing on the field and ministering in music as well there. And so anxious to hear what her sing and play and just show a little bit of what the Lord has blessed her with. Is that mic okay? You want to move a little closer?
When life's burdens get so heavy and it seems I'm all alone, I cast my care on Jesus and come boldly to his throne. I find his grace sufficient when his promises I heed. For his very life he sacrificed, and he lives to intercede. He is the Lord of lords, and when he speaks, winds and waves obey. When Jesus whispers, peace be still, then darkness turns to day. And as I'm trusting him, my Savior's word, doubts and fears all cease. And beneath the shelter of his wings, I'm at rest in perfect peace. I will seek for souls in darkness, Calvary's love with them to share. Empowered by his Spirit, I will follow anywhere. For I know whate'er befall me, my Lord is in control. And as my mind is stayed on him, perfect peace he gives my soul. He is the Lord of lords, and when he speaks, winds and waves obey. When Jesus whispers, peace be still, then darkness turns to day. And as I'm trusting him, my Savior's word, doubts and fears all cease. And beneath the shelter of his wings, I'm at rest in perfect peace.
Well, the big thing on the player this week is Bible school, and so we need all hands on deck for that. So we'll be glad to have you there. Make sure that you are praying for Bible school. That's your number one job this week, is to pray for the Lord to work and give the teachers wisdom and speak through them and draw souls to himself. So I would ask that you would spend extra time this week in prayer for Bible school, and then be here to help if at all possible, and invite the neighbor kids and all that for the week. Is there anything else that needs to be mentioned?
Quick meeting right after, and there is a sign up. There's a few things we still don't have food-wise. So they're highlighted out there if anyone's interested in doing
So
food things.
short meeting right after Bible school, after the service for Bible school, and then there's some things that are still needed, and so there's a list out there that are highlighted if you can provide a few more things that they need, food items for Bible school. I don't know of anything else that needs to be mentioned. Continue to pray for our friend Harold and for Lorraine Cummins, the Cummins family, as they're dealing with that. Has anybody heard an update on that? I did not hear anything today. It doesn't look like anybody heard anything anymore. All right, if nothing else, we'll have the ushers come forward and we'll receive the offering this evening.
Father, we are thankful to be here tonight and assembled together as believers. We ask, dear Lord, that you will just bless this evening and help us as we sing these songs of praise, to try to sing them from our heart, truly mean it, and to give you the honor and glory you deserve. I thank you for
I will be reading in Joshua chapter number 1. Joshua chapter number 1. Joshua chapter number 1, starting in verse 1 and ending at verse 9. Now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses my servant is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all of this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. There shall be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest.
Amen.
545, please. 545 song that not done a lot, but we did it a few months ago. And I feel like we ought to sing it again, kind of get it in our minds just a little bit more. 545, each step I take, my Savior goes before me. Let's stand together, please, one last time as we sing 545.
Like
Tim, watch my words here because I want to make sure I don't misspeak. Tim got a text from Dwayne. They are not going to do anything else other than manage pain for Lorraine's mother. And so if I read that right, they're expecting hours, not days. And so it's a very difficult situation. So Tim, could I get you to stand and pray for the Cummins family as they're dealing with this?
The Cummins family up in prayer, Lord. We ask the God of all comfort to meet with them, to do the work of grace that only you can do. Thank you for the witness and testimony of that family. We trust that the coming hours will be as you have designed, and we just pray your comfort upon the family in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Tim. You know, I've often wondered whether we could get what we'll call a ringer in as a missionary. Someone who's just faking being a missionary and so all their information is fake. So we're trying to be real careful about that, but today we might have one. Sarah says she's from Minnesota, but she didn't know who Rocky and Bullwinkle were. That's really suspicious in my world, since Rocky and Bullwinkle are from Minnesota. But anyway, we'll have to let that pass, and we'll see how she does in the rest of this thing. It is good to have her here tonight. We enjoyed lunch with her. Looking forward to hearing what the Lord has for her there in Uganda.
Good evening. It's been a joy being at your church today. I just talked to Carrie Phillips. She called me this afternoon, and she heard I was at your church and said, "Oh, I wish I could be there with you this afternoon." She said, "The people there are wonderful." So she definitely sends her greetings to you. And thank you for the Prophet's Chamber you all have. It's a blessing to have a place to stay for these past couple days. It's very comfortable, very nice down there. I think I'll give my testimony again, just a little bit more details from this morning. Then I have a video so you can see some pictures from Sorority. I can do a little bit more explanation. But my name's Sarah Shadrack. I grew up in a Christian home. I grew up going to church. I was saved at an early age when I was 7 years old on November 19th. But I doubted my salvation for multiple years. It wasn't until I was reading the verse, "The Spirit bears witness with my spirit that I'm indeed a child of God," that I had the assurance of my salvation. It was having a relationship with God, having Him speak to me through His Word, praying to God that I got the assurance of my salvation. And then growing up, I had the opportunity to be involved at my church through their music ministries, playing piano or violin for their services, or helping out with their outreaches, the VBS, nursing home services. We also had missionaries coming through our church that I got to know personally. And God used these different experiences to give me a desire to be a missionary, even back when I was in elementary school. And so moving forward with that, I chose the elementary education and a music ministries minor at college as the practical training to be a missionary. And I got to my junior year of college, I didn't feel like God had shown me a specific country. So while I was praying, looking into different ministries, different teaching jobs, I was told about a missionary family in Kampala, the capital of Uganda, and they had a church plant. There's 2 missionary families. They're working on a church plant in Kampala. And they were looking for someone to come and help them for a year. So I was originally planning on going for the 1 month between my junior and senior year of college, and then COVID happened, so it got put off until after I graduated. And through praying and talking to the missionaries, they invited me to come for a full year. So I was with the missionary family, the Applegates and the Dwyers, for 8 months, helping them with their homeschooling, and helping with some of their children's ministries, playing piano for church. So that's how God got me into the country of Uganda, I guess. I got familiar with the culture of Uganda, what it was like to live there while I was working with this family. But they came back to the States for furlough at the end of my 8 months. And so again, I was praying, if God had a different place for me. And I heard about the orphan ministry, the Sorority Orphan Assistance Project, and the missionary team there. I visited for a week, met the missionary team, got to know the orphan children. They put me in some of their classes teaching English, and God gave me a desire to return. So I finished up the school year with the Applegates and the Dwyers, and when they came back to the States, I moved over to Sorority, and I was in Sorority for 6 months, still praying about returning. If this was going to be, the one-year mission trip, or if God was, going to call me back full-time as a missionary. I grew to love the children of Uganda. I spent most of my time working with the children, specifically the children at SOAP. There's 41 orphan children that live and stay at the orphanage there, teaching English. The classes are very small. 8 would be about the largest size of a classroom. So you really get to know the children working one-on-one, helping them learn English. It's a second language for them. So they really need the one-on-one, getting them to read to you, learning how to write it down. So I got to know the children through that. Doing some tutoring. The children are there 24/7, so game times on Saturdays, spending time with them, supervising different activities. But another ministry was the deaf children. And one of our missionary ladies, well, you all know Carrie Phillips, you support her. She's gone into the public schools, and she'll take the deaf children out of the classes, and then there's another Christian lady in our church that's deaf. And so they sometimes even have to teach these children sign language, but then use sign language to teach them how to read, how to write, but ultimately to have the opportunity to teach them about the Bible. And these children, because they can't read, or they can't hear, they can't speak, they really aren't getting anything from their classes. They'll be 13, 14, 15 years old and still trying to learn how to write the alphabet, not because they aren't smart enough, it's just they just can't pick up what the teachers are saying. So that's a ministry I saw just for one morning. I went along with them, but I would love to be involved in that ministry going back. Another ministry is working with street children. Walking from our apartment over to the orphan ministry, there's children all the streets, playing with their friends. They love their soccer, the football they call it. They'll be in the yards. And a lot of these children won't come to Sunday school. We have many that do come to Sunday school, but there's still many that don't come. And if they're in the villages farther out surrounding Sorority, our town, it's too far for them to walk. Their parents probably don't have a vehicle. So they do Bible clubs on Saturdays. More like bringing the Sunday school to the children. Play games with them, sing songs, get to know these children. But ultimately, the goal is to teach them the Bible, teach them how to be saved. So these are different ministries that I saw, and God gave me a desire to be involved in just those 6 months that I was there. But to call me back full-time, God used Psalm 37. And with the promises in that chapter, God had specific promises to encourage me and direct me to go to Uganda. One of the verses says that God orders our steps. And I could look back and see how God had ordered my steps through giving me a desire to be in missions, choosing my major at college, getting me into Uganda, coming to sorority, and so many of the little steps between those big decisions, how God had directed and ordered my steps. So it was exciting to see God leading and directing so clearly. So I came back to the States in November when my work permit expired. Now I'm preparing to return back to Uganda, the orphan ministry in Sorority. I think I'll come down and let them pull down the screen, and I'll share a little bit while they're pulling down the screen to show my video. I'll share a little bit about the different smaller ministries. And just from talking to you all from the past, today, I know a lot of you are very familiar with Uganda as a whole, but then a lot of you have already visited Sorority and the orphan ministry, so I hope I'm not boring you with details about the orphan ministry, but for you that aren't familiar, let me just explain the different facets of the team, the missionary team in Sorority, and the different ministries that they're doing. There is a church in Sorority, And one of our missionary men, Alan Sutphin, is the pastor of our church. And so all of our SOAP children come to the services, the Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday. A lot of our staff are Ugandan staff. So our Ugandan teachers, the kitchen workers, just the maintenance people will come to the church. But it is a church for the community. And we do have many people, families, a lot of children from the community that come to our church service. So there's the Sunday school, the men and women's Sunday school. And from the women's side of it, one of our ladies, Phyllis Hall, writes out lessons for the ladies, and she has 2 Ugandan ladies that will teach the lessons, will study and teach the lessons, which is a blessing to have the Ugandans starting to learn and teaching, taking over different ministries. And then the children's Sunday school. And Carrie Phillips, she does the children's Sunday school. 50 children, about average, come a week. A large group of children they're working with, and the children love to come. That's a great ministry. Why don't I show the video and I can come back and explain a little bit more later. The video gives kind of an overview of Uganda as a whole. Then you'll see some pictures of the school, a little bit of the church, what it looks like over there. Uganda is called the Pearl of Africa because of its beautiful, diverse landscapes and exotic animals. Located in East Africa, Uganda is a country that is slightly smaller than the state of Oregon. It has a population of 47 million people. Ugandans are religious people and most claim to be either Catholic or Anglican, although hearing a Muslim prayer call from the local mosque is a daily occurrence. Because of disease and war, over half of Ugandan's 47 million people are under the age of 15, making Uganda the second youngest country in the world. Because of this, children often raise children and are left destitute. In 2004, BIMI missionaries started a ministry to care for these children and reach them for the Lord. SOAP, or Sorority Orphan Assistance Project, currently cares for and provides for 34 Ugandan orphans. A school on SOAP property brings in trained teachers to provide the first 7 years of education for these children. Sorority Independent Baptist Church holds weekly services for the children, SOAP staff, and community. Hello, my name is Sarah Shadrack. When the Lord directed and provided for me to serve with BIMI missionaries in Uganda, He confirmed that my desire to be a missionary was also His will. I spent the first 8 months of my time in Uganda serving with BIMI missionaries in the capital of Kampala. My last 6 months were spent in the city of Sorority serving at SOAP. Because I majored in elementary education with a music ministries minor, I had the opportunity of teaching English in each of the 7 grades, while also doing some tutoring and teaching a combined music class. I also had the opportunity of giving weekly evening devotions, supervising activity time, teaching private piano lessons, helping in children's church, and playing piano for church. I saw the Lord doing a great work in Sorority, with people being saved and baptized at Sorority Independent Baptist Church. Children were not only being cared for, but they were being saved and their lives changed. The Lord used this time to give me a peace about returning to Uganda and a desire to reach these children for the Lord. As I return, I am being sent by Deward Baptist Church in Deward, Minnesota, and am serving with Baptist International Missions. In addition to being involved at SOAP, I will be assisting church planting missionaries through teaching children's classes and discipling young ladies. I would be thrilled to partner with you to reach the people of Uganda for the Lord. Would you consider supporting me through your prayers and finances? Please pray for me as I prepare to return to Uganda. Showed a few pictures of the school there, the smaller classes, and what the church services look like. I'll tell you a little bit more about the church. They have a new church building, which when I was there, the pictures there of the church was in the old church building. They just finished their new building this past month. When I was there the few months back, they were still working on the building, but now they're holding the services in their new church building. It's just right outside of the compound where the church and orphanage is. But larger auditorium so they can seat more people. They don't have to be quite so packed in. It's outside of the walled area where the orphanage is. So a little more security for the orphan ministry, but maybe with the community not feeling like they have to come in through the school and pass all the school buildings through the walls, the security that has to happen for schools in Uganda, that the community would feel more welcome and more at ease to come to church. So we're excited about that, the new church building. A little bit about SOAP. So there's a school there at SOAP, the orphan ministry there. I think you know, but when I say SOAP, it's the Sorority Orphan Assistance Project. We shorten it down to that acronym, make it a little bit easier to say. But the school at SOAP, we have a school from 1st through 6th grade. And we do have Ugandan teachers that will come and teach those classes. And then some of our missionaries will come and teach a Bible class. We'll help with the English, doing some of the tutoring, just since English is our primary language, we can help with that side of things. But at the end of 6th grade, they have a large exam, a national exam it's required for these children to take. It would be maybe like our ACT, SAT exams that we take here, except a lot more pressure and a lot bigger for these children. And depending on how well they do on this exam, decides on whether they can go on to high school, will be a trading school, what level of high school can they go to, and so they study all the way up through 6th grade to be able to pass this exam. And then afterwards, we have multiple of our children that would go on to high school. So it'd be like a boarding school setting is how it would be in Uganda. And so they would go to a different boarding school in the town of Soroti. They're still supported by our orphan ministry, but they would be at a different high school. And then some of them that if they didn't do well enough on the test to be able to go to high school, or they just don't desire to continue with education, they'll go into a trade school, which was just started like 2 years back, the trade school at Soroti, and they'll bring in a teacher for the specific trade that these children want to study, and they'll come to the school just like a normal class, 5 days a week, and train them. So we have a boy, Paul and Jonah, they're doing the mechanic school. They were the first 2 boys that we started the trade school with. We have Isaku doing the carpentry, and then his sister Helen, they just started being a sewing class to be a seamstress. And then we do have 2 children that are in Bible school. It's not as common. Most Ugandans wouldn't continue on to college. But Isaku, which I think you all are familiar with, is in Bible college. And his desire is to go back to his village and to start a church in his home village. And then we have another girl that is in nursing school, in college for nursing school. So that's a little bit about the school side of the ministry. Some of the ministries that I could be involved in or help in over in Uganda through the church, playing piano for the church services. One of our ladies, Phyllis Hall, does all the music. So giving her a break on some of the services, playing piano. Another ministry that they do in Uganda through the church is their discipleship program. And we have a program written up for the Ugandan people, a discipleship program for newly saved people. There's 18 lessons, and it goes over just the basics of what a new Christian should learn, basic truths about the Bible. So baptism will be a lesson, praying, soul winning, the 18 lessons, but we do it individually, one-on-one. So it takes quite a few different people in the time to individually go through these lessons with people. So being able to be involved in discipling the young ladies and the girls through the orphan ministry in the church. And then the children's church. Like I said, there's about 50 children coming for Sunday school, about 60, 70 children coming for children's church. So just helping crowd control, helping with the games, helping with the songs. helping teaching the lessons for the children's class. Carrie Phillips is a big part of the children's ministry, bringing all these children in from the community. And then working with the children at SOAP, teaching the English, doing some of the tutoring. A lot of our children come with learning disabilities for whatever reason, and they really need someone to help them one-on-one, especially at a younger age, getting them so they can learn how to read, the basic math that they need to be able to continue on to the upper level classes. So working one-on-one with some of these children doing the tutoring. But the children are here 24/7. So somebody is with them for all of that time. On Saturdays, we'll take the different missionaries, different teachers will take turns coming in on a Saturday and playing games with them for the afternoon. The older children, especially the boys, they love their football, their soccer. You can give them a ball and they'll be happy for hours. The younger children, the girls, love to do the jump roping, and they have all their rhymes and their songs and their different patterns and all the different jumps, whatever they do with jump roping. We've tried to teach them a few of our American games, but spending time with them, loving them, taking care of these children, supervising activity, supervising like chore time. The children have a specific jobs that they do, whether it's cleaning the rooms, cutting the grass. We have gardens. Some of them will say, oh, I really want sweet potatoes. And we're like, well, there's a garden here. Come plant your sweet potatoes, and it'll go to the kitchen so that they can eat sweet potatoes. Or, oh, I'm really hungry for this. Well, I can plant it. All the food that's in the garden, the children help to plant and take care of, and then it goes to the kitchen to help with the meals for them. Also, a lot of just working with the children and being with them. Like I said, in the community, they do outreaches on Saturdays. The Saturday soul winning, the Saturday Bible clubs, where we take the older orphan children, and each missionary will have a few of the older orphan children with us, having them come along with the translating. Sometimes it helps to get into and talk to people if you have a Ugandan with you. So it's a help for us, but a wonderful opportunity to train them and teach them how to share the gospel, how to give a Bible lesson, how to work with children, to train these older children as well. So that's some of the ministries I was involved in a little bit when I was there, but I'm praying about being involved in when I return. Let me share some of the needs of the children there, the needs of the community. So these children, the Ugandans would call them double orphans. So both parents have died, and they're destitute. They really don't have anybody that can take care of them, anybody that can provide for them. They're recommended by the pastors from the villages surrounding Soroti, and these pastors will recommend orphans to us that they know they don't have anybody to take care of them. All of the children would have a traumatic past. Both of the parents have died, but some of them very traumatic ways that their parents have died. Some of them have to learn a new language. There's 54 different tribes of people. Each tribe will have a different language. And so in our area, it would be Ateso. But if the children come from a different tribe, it's a different language that they speak. And if they haven't had any schooling, which they probably haven't, they won't know English. And so we've had children coming in that don't know any language that the rest of the people can speak. So that's huge learning curve for these children to learn this new language coming in. I've been told that it takes, for some of these children, 2 to 3 months from no expression on their face, no smiling, don't talk, don't play with friends, to you're loving them, you're spending time with them, you're teaching them. So there's the flip, where they start smiling, interacting with people, they're picking up on the language. So I haven't been there for the beginning, but I've been told wonderful to see that change. And the children are very happy children. It's like a big family, I would say, coming in and seeing them just for those few months. The older children, taking care of the younger ones, teaching them, helping them, playing games together. They're with them. They're with there are 41 people, 41 children all the time, school and out of school. And they are very close. They are very happy children. A lot of these children will come malnourished when they come in. Even when they go and visit relatives on school break, we have to send them with food just to be able to take care of them. Orphans aren't really seen very highly, aren't really taken care of in general in Uganda. And just most people don't have the money to take care of all the siblings to feed them. And so there is a great need to take care of these orphans, just their basic needs, the food, the clothes, providing them with schooling, but the wonderful opportunity to teach them about the Bible and to share with them how to be saved. And our group, our missionary team, the Ugandan leaders in the church, do that multiple ways daily. They're hearing the Bible through evening devotions. Every evening, a different missionary or a leader in the school and church will come in, teach a Bible lesson, sing songs. They have a Bible memory program that they do in the evenings. The Bible classes, Phyllis Hall, I don't know if you all are familiar with her, but she teaches the Bible lessons in the school. Each grade has a different Bible lesson, and she writes up the curriculum and teaches our children the Bible classes. They come to the church services, but they have chapel. 3 days a week for their school days, they'll have a chapel. And our pastors, different leaders in the church, and then the pastors from the surrounding villages will come in and will teach lessons. And we're on a rotation for teaching chapel in the church. So many ways that as a ministry we're teaching these children. And praise the Lord, many of them get saved. And it's a blessing to see these children trusting in the Lord, reading their Bibles, memorizing verses, living for the Lord. For the community, I would say that just from what I've seen for them in the year, they're very religious. Like the video said, it's about 70% Catholic or Anglican. And then as I've seen, they will take a tract from you. They will listen. They'll do a Bible study. They might come to church. They would just say, we have to work to be saved. So there is the need to teach these people how to be saved. So we have the church as a whole, as a ministry as a whole. They have the church Sunday and Wednesday night. But for the people that don't come to the church service, different outreaches. Like I said, the Saturday soul winning, doing the Bible clubs for the children, different outreaches. Carrie Phillips does a lot of the outreaches into the public school, using sports, using basketball to get into the schools, working with the deaf children. She's gone into the blind schools as ways to get into the public schools, but to use that to be able to teach the Bible to these children. So that's the need, kind of as the country, as the Ugandan orphans that we are working with. Let me share a little bit about the team of missionaries. Wonderful team that God has put together. There's 7 missionaries, BIMI missionaries, at the orphan ministry. So Alan and Elena Sutphin. Alan Sutphin was the pastor and director, the pastor of the church, the director of the orphan ministry. And then his wife Elena works with the students that have graduated 6th grade but are still being taken care of. So if they're in high school, if they're in college, she helps them, provides for their needs what they need for their schooling. But they both have medical training. Pastor Alan is a physician assistant. Elena is a nurse, and so they take care of all of the medical needs of the orphanage, of all of us, and they do the medical clinics in the area. So that is a huge blessing, having someone that knows the African, Ugandan diseases and then can take care of that for us. The malaria is a big one. Our children will come back with malaria when they go into the villages, more remote, with the mosquitoes. As many of them, a couple of them every break will come back with malaria. So they watch the children and take care of them medically too, as far as that. Carrie Phillips, you all know her. She does a lot of work with the school children. Just this past year, our principal at the school left, and so she took over supervising the school at SOAP, supervising the teachers, acting as a principal, handling all of that. The children love her. And she does a lot of the public school ministries, going into the deaf school, going into the school for the blind people, using the sports, and going with her. Oh, the children love when she drives up in her car and they see her coming. They get so excited. So she does a lot of work with the children of Uganda. And then Debbie Guyman, she is the financial officer, does all of the updates and the letters to different churches. She oversees the kitchen for feeding all the orphans and all of the teachers and workers every day. But she has a very unique ministry for learning Bible verses. And so she has Bibles in the different languages, the different tribal languages. And she'll go into the village, and she'll have a list of, maybe 15 Bible verses, and she'll work with them and study, and they will practice. And when they can tell them to it by memory, she'll write a signature. And after they've gone a couple weeks, they get a signature on all of them. They get a free Bible. And going with it, the people are so excited, studying and working. When they get their Bible, wow, that is huge for these people, especially when they get it in their local language. And our children, the orphan children, will do it as well, study for Bible for themselves, but some of them will keep studying, learn an extra set of verses for Bibles for their family members back home. So, it's getting ready for Christmas. I'm going to start studying for my parents, my grandparents, so they have a Bible they can bring back to their relatives. And it's exciting to watch them studying and coming back. I have another one. I have a couple more I can tell you. They're working on their Bible memory. And then Phyllis Hall, she does the ladies' Bible studies. She's the one that writes out the lessons for ladies' Sunday school. She does the Bible studies with the ladies in the community. She teaches the Bible classes at the orphanage. And then we have a new couple, Matt and Savannah Garner, just moved to Sorority this past year. And so I met them for a few months before I came back to the States, but he is the associate pastor and director, and is, taking some responsibility for such a large ministry. They'll be a great help to our ministry. So that is the team of missionaries. I know I gave you a lot of kind of different information, but I hope that I helped you picture what the community is like, the different ministries, what I am praying about doing as I return, but what the ministry as a whole, what they're accomplishing for the Lord, what the Lord is doing in Uganda. It was exciting for me to see what God was doing over there in the town of Sorority.
Questions?
Meet the criteria, but you have to turn away for lack of accommodations and space and everything.
I would say yes. I haven't been there at the beginning of the school year. When I came, the children had already been there for about half a term. But we're pretty much at max now. I know the boys' dorm is pretty much full, and the girls' dorm might have a few extra bunks. But 40 is about the max we can do. So to take more, we would have to build a new dorms and get larger classrooms. So yes. It's about 7 graduate and maybe 7 new ones come in is about average. So there is definitely a need for larger facilities. But even then, it would be the hiring more people, more help. It would be kind of a big adjustment to be able to handle more people.
So when they go to high school or grade school or college or whatever, like, do they have to go to high school first and then college?
Yeah.
Okay, but then that's just during the day, and they still come back and stay in the evening, or
No.
they board?
The high school is boarding schools.
So in Uganda as a whole, it would be like a boarding school. So they move there. They're sleeping there.
They're part of the 40?
No, 40 is the first through sixth grade actually staying at SOAP. On school breaks, the students in the boarding schools, the high school, will come and live at SOAP. So they return on breaks, but that's just a few weeks here and there.
So the kids are only there through the 6th grade, and then they have to graduate, or how does that work?
Yes, and so at sixth grade, they would take that leaving exam, which it goes by grade. We have, since the children, when they start, they could be 13, 14, 15 years old. They're starting in the first grade. So we have children in sixth grade that are pushing 18, 19 years old just because they haven't had schooling before. So it goes by grade to when they actually graduate sixth grade. And then depending on how well they do on that exam, decides for them if they can go on to high school or if it's like a trade school, what they do afterwards.
And then, what? Like, the boarding school, there's a fee for that, how's that paid for? And then, like, once they graduate, go on, where do they go, what do they do?
Yes. So Elena Sutphin, our director's wife, she oversees, providing the clothes, providing the school fees, buying the books. She's kind of over the ones that have graduated already and is providing for them. And so SOAP as a whole is supported by churches in the States. And so we continue to support them through high school. And then afterwards, a lot of them, I haven't seen enough. I've met them, a few of the ones from high school. I was pretty much working with the 5th through 6th graders. But from what I've heard, a lot of them do go back to their villages. And Ugandans, most of them are subsistence farmers. And then even teachers, the teachers that will teach at SOAP, they still go back to their villages and they're planting their gardens for their food. And so even if they have a job, they're still have a piece of land from their family, family land back in the village that they'll be taking care of. But the goal is trying to get them into the trade schools, that they'd be able to get a job, working with a mechanic, seamstress, being a teacher. So we're trying to help them be able to support themselves afterwards.
Here you write that you have kids 16 or 17 years old that are in 5th or 6th grade.
Yes.
You have age limit then?
Well, it's not necessarily like they're failing the classes. It would just be when they come in, if they haven't had any schooling, they have to go into the first grade level. Otherwise, they won't know the material. So by the time they get to 6th grade, yeah, they are older.
Very difficult situation for a teacher, your age span.
Yes. Especially for the first grade, it's very challenging because you're having children coming in, and a lot of them don't know English. English is the language that the schools are taught in. So they're trying to learn English. They don't really know Ateso, the local language. You have the real young ones, 5 years old. You have the older ones, 12, 13 years old. They learn quicker. The 13-year-old picks it up, the 5-year-old. So it can be challenging teaching them.
I thought you were asking to see if you could go and get enrolled down there.
So 8th and then 10th. Sorry if I missed it. What is your target date to get there, and how far along are you on your support?
I'm about 41% now. I would love to be back by January. January is the start of the school year over there, so the new children would be arriving. I'm not far enough along that I'd be buying the plane tickets yet, but that's the goal I'm praying for.
So the kids, if they don't test well enough to get into high school, they're done, and then they typically will just head back to their village unless they're older, then maybe they stick around in Sorority or go someplace else to find work. Is that kind of how it works?
Well, the trade school. So learning how to be a carpenter, mechanic, to be a seamstress. So if they don't do well enough, they would get into the trade school side of it. So we'd be hiring a teacher to come to SOAP to teach them. So pretty much just skipping high school and going straight to learning a trade.
So you're teaching English, and does that mean you yourself have to learn these other languages as well, tidbits of it or something?
English is the second language, and it's what even the Ugandans will teach using English. It's the language used in schools. The first grade, while they're still trying to learn English, they'll use a TASE or in the local language, but otherwise, they are teaching in English. So since I'm working with the school children mostly, I will be speaking in English, but I want to learn a TASO, especially the younger children coming in, or the older people or people from the villages. They haven't had schooling, they won't know a TASO. And it's the language that's just used in conversations throughout the town. That's what they'll be talking in outside of the schools. So learning the local language would definitely be a help, but it's not like necessary the first day I get there to be able to speak it. Yeah.
They graduate and they go off to a boarding school. Do you lose them all responsibility for them financially? Does the government pay for this?
No, the SOAP supports them through high school. So providing the school fees, their books, the uniforms, we're providing for them. Come college, different churches, different people would sponsor them, or they'll have to work for their fees for college. But up through the training school or the high school, they're still being supported. I am not sure. I could look. I know Debbie Guyman, she handles that side of things, and she would know. If you'd like, I can get back with you on that. But yes, and the churches that support SOAP, that's part of what they're paying for. And even when they're in SOAP, it's the hiring the teachers to pay, the hiring the teachers for the 1st through 6th grade as well. So that's a large amount of the finances is for the education.
It all would be relative, though, because we're putting, if you Joseph through college, the church is paying that, it's $135 or $165 a semester. So, it's all relative. That's a lot of money in Uganda, but it's all kind of relative.
Is that food and everything?
We said we were gonna cover his college fees, that's the number they gave us, and so we pay that twice a year, and that covers, I don't know what all that pays for, but that, and we're supporting Pastor Martin full-time at $125 a month, with a family of 5, and so everything's kind of relative as far as expenditures go.
Do you take younger children? Say if they're orphaned, would you take babies, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, or do they have to be at least school age before they come?
The 1st grade is what we take. Obviously, it'd be wonderful if you could take the infants, the babies. We just aren't set up for that. For the children coming in, a lot of them don't have a birthday. Or, they have a birthday, but they don't know what the birthday is. They don't really know how old they are. And so I've heard that at 5 years old, a child can lift their hand over their head and touch their ear. But if you're younger than that, you won't be able to do that. So I guess that's you can touch your ear? Okay. Your 1st grade level, but
I'm not gonna try.
they will kind of get a average of how old they think they are, give them a birthday, get them into the 1st grade level. But it's about 5-6 years old.
You got the last question.
It does bring up the question of, I would imagine there are probably an awful lot of orphans beginning with. What becomes of the children or the babies 2 years and younger? Who takes care of them?
I don't have a specific answer on that or like a specific scenario in my mind. I'm assuming they would just be living with their extended family. The extended families over there are very close, so it's not like here where you could be a state away. For the most part, they're in the same compound. It's just you have the different huts of, the different main building, but they're all in the same area, the same gardens, And so children, nieces and nephews, it's kind of close to the same thing over in Uganda, so that, they would just be taken on as the family. Whether or not they would have the money for that, it is difficult being an orphan there. But yes.
All right, very good. I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and let you slip out so we don't get caught. You don't get caught here going. If I get the ushers, we'll take an offering up for Sarah. John, I'll ask you to pray this round.
Our Father, we give thanks for this day and the invitation that you've given us, worship in the spirit of truth. We're thankful for this young lady, her calling to the mission field, and her excitement about it, passion. We pray you bless her. Whatever endeavor and whatever work she'll find herself to do, give her the strength and the help that's needed, give her the finances that she can get there quickly, and just thank you for her testimony and her love for you. Bless these gifts given to her, and Lord, may provide for her every need. We pray and ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Appreciate being here today. Make sure that you're praying for Bible school this week, and then be here. Make sure you got a short meeting up here in the front, so make sure you're there for that. Walk with the Lord this week.